Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. We got a busy show today. A coach has been hired in Chicago. We put a bow tie in the college football season. The Hall of Fame class has been announced in Major League Baseball. But we got to start with what the biggest thing is happening this weekend, and that is the conference championship games. And we'll start with the NFC And for the first time since 1986. We got an all NFC East, NFC Championship game between the Commanders and the Eagles. The Commanders got there last week by an outstanding performance by Jane Daniels. He was great on the road in Detroit in their upset win in Detroit. And then the Eagles on Sunday. How about Saquon Barkley? He continues to amaze. We didn't think we thought he was going to have a good game, but not what he did against the Eagles in Week 12. He pretty much did exactly what he did to the Rams in Week 12, as he had two long touchdown runs. The second one, the two long touchdown runs to carry the Eagles to a victory over the Rams and get them to the NFC Championship game for the second time in 3 years. Before we make our prediction for this game, though, we are going to talk about, what do these teams need to do to win this game. And I'm going to start with the favored Eagles. These two teams, they split in the regular season. They're playing in the NFC Championship game. I'm going to start with the favored Eagles. What the Eagles have to do to win this game. And number one, it's pretty easy. Saquon's got to continue to be great. He's been phenomenal. For this team. As a Giants fan, it is tough to watch, seeing the Hard Knocks thing and seeing how great Saquon is. It couldn't have been worse. For Giant fans. It couldn't have been better for the Eagles. He's been outstanding. He proved it last week, rushing over 200 yards, having two long touchdown runs. The second time he did that against the Rams this year. So Saquon's been phenomenal. So Saquon has continued to be great. And number two, and this is going to be really crucial. The Eagles got to protect Jalen Hurts. They have to protect him in this game because he might be limited mobility-wise. Jalen Hurts might be limited mobility-wise in this game. So it is crucial. That the Eagles protect Jalen Hurts. It is crucial that they do. And Washington's pass rush has been pretty good in the postseason, with Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler. They've been pretty good. Frankie Louvu comes in nickel packages to rush the passer. So the Washington pass rush has been pretty good all year long. So they got to. They got it. The Eagles got to protect Jalen Hurts because, his mobility-wise, he might be limited. So they got to protect him. And number three, they got to contain Terry McLaurin, and they've done a really good job of that because that's Washington's definitely best offensive weapon is Terry McLaurin. I know they have a pretty good run game, but their best offensive weapon is Terry McLaurin, so they got to contain him. They did a pretty good job at the first two games, pretty much holding him to 70 yards in those two games. Now the thing is Quinyon Mitchell is questionable for this game, and that could be key because he's been the guy who's been on Terry McLaurin pretty much the entire time in both games. So Quinyon Mitchell is questionable, so that's gonna be big. So if he doesn't play, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. They're probably going to double him if Quinyon Mitchell doesn't play in this game. So that's going to be interesting. But for me, it's Saquon continuing to keep things going, protecting Jalen Hurts, and containing Terry McLaurin. Justin, what are your keys to the Eagles? What are your keys for the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years?
My three, and this one is kind of same one as you at the top there is pretty easy. They got to Saquon Barkley's got to continue to be looking like the best running back in football. He's been unbelievable, and we know Washington really struggled this year against the run. So, especially you mentioned it, Jalen Hurts is still banged up. That knee's bothering him. They're probably going to lean on that running game a lot. So, they're probably going to need him to have another huge day. And number two. Same as you, like the Eagles got to protect Jalen Hurts because he looked like a statue back there. He was sacked 7 times last week, so if he can't run and if he's statue back there, Washington you mentioned been really good pass rush so far in the playoffs. It's an Eagle team that our offense has not looked great the last couple games. Besides Saquon Barkley, and then number three is they got to defend the option that Washington's been running so well, the triple option, and because even Brian Robinson got going last week for Washington. So because you can make the case Commanders are playing the best football of the 4 teams left right now, and that offense has been rolling. So that in that option game has been a big part of it offensively for Washington.
You talked about them containing the run too. Yeah, the two matchups, the Eagles did a really good job against Washington's run game. They did. Now, maybe they might not do as good of a job because of the loss of Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean was pretty critical in both games. So, but Zach Bonds has been really good in the middle as well. But yeah, the run game, that's very important because if they can make Jalen Hurts one-dimensional, because the Eagles should never. There's no way they should blitz him. You cannot blitz Jalen Hurts. Jane Daniels. You cannot blitz Jane Daniels. You saw last week what he did to the Lions when they blitzed him. He tore him apart. But if they can stop that run game and rush forward, the Eagles are gonna have a very, very good chance to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. The way because JJ he's been so good, and I know the Lions are so banged up, but to put 45 on that team and what they did down at Tampa, and because like the Eagles, they haven't looked great the first 2 rounds. Like you could argue they could have lost LA. The Green Bay, Love wasn't great. How healthy was he? But like the way Washington's playing, the way Jaden Daniels playing, he's done a great job protecting the football, and he just hasn't really looked like a rookie out there pretty much all year.
No, Jaden Daniels right now, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. And there's no question about it. He's a top 5 quarterback in the league. What he's done, he's carried pretty much an average to above average roster to the conference championship game. He's a top 5 quarterback. He's definitely the decision making, how good he is at the line of scrimmage. He's been outstanding. I mean, he's right there with on that. He's on that top tier. He's in that top tier with Mahomes, with Allen, with Burrow, with Lamar. He's there. There's no question that he's not. And his 2 playoff games have definitely proven it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't argue against you there because because he's been so good this year, and the difference that he's made for the team because it's a decent roster. It's not a great roster. Nobody really thought they were going to be here this year, and the guy that just played a ton of football, and Cliff Kingsbury's done a great job too. He's been awesome too. Just kind of he runs a perfect offense for Jaden Daniels, and those two have really figured it out, and their offense has been. They had like a month there, towards like November, December, where their offense kind of fell off a little bit, and it kind of maybe looked like teams are solving it. But yes, but since then their offense has been unbelievable, and Cliff Kingsbury deserves a ton of credit too.
Oh, he definitely does. Cliff Kingsbury definitely done a great job. And now, speaking of the Commanders and Daniels, we'll talk about what they need to do to win this game. And first for the Commanders to win, it's pretty obvious they got to contain Saquon, and they did do that after that long run against against them in the second game. They did do that. Now, Kenny Pickett was playing quarterback and not Jalen Hurts, but here's the thing: the Eagles' passing game has really struggled in the postseason. AJ Brown for some reason. He's really struggled in the postseason. So if the Commanders could contain Saquon, if they could hold him to under 100, now he's going to get at least like 80 to 9 yards rushing, but they could hold him to under 100 yards. They're going to have a chance. The Eagles' passing game has not been that good. So containing Saquon is definitely the first thing. Then number 2, we just spoke about Jaden Daniels. Daniels is got to be great. He's got to continue to be great, like he's been all postseason. He's got to continue to carry this average to above average roster to the Super Bowl. He's carried the NFC Championship game. He's got to continue to carry them past the NFC title game. So Daniels is because he was great against. Here's the thing with the Commanders: they've only punted one time the entire season. That was the first drive of the second half against the Lions. They've only punted one time. That's crazy. That's crazy to think of. So Daniels has to continue to be great. And number 3, They got to continue to force turnovers. They forced a big turnover against the Bucks in the first round. They capitalized on that, and they forced 5 turnovers against the Lions. And that was, outside of Jaden Daniels, that was the biggest reason why they won the game, is the defense forced turnovers. They could force turnovers because they are the less talented team. But if they could force Jalen Hurts to turn the ball over, they got a great chance they have a great chance to beat the Eagles for the second time this year and get to the Super Bowl. Justin, your keys to the Commanders getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, my first one was actually the one you just mentioned, was the turnovers, and Washington's done a really good job of that. And yeah, if they could steal possession away from Philly, they can get short field. Definitely could use that, and put it in their offense. Been capitalizing so well lately that yeah, they could put up 6 and really make the Eagles pay for that turnover. And number 2 for me is, they got to slow down Saquon Barkley. He's gone over 200 yards of the first 2 rounds of this postseason so far. We know Washington's 30th this year stopping the run. So if Hurts isn't totally healthy, does Washington just kind of stack the box and make Jalen Hurts beat you through the air right now? I would think that's probably something they do if they notice pretty early that Hurts isn't going to be mobile and they'll have some trouble throwing downfield. And my last one too is the fourth down magic. They're 20 for 23 on the year, and they're 6 for 9 so far in the postseason. So they've been unbelievable. Going forward, and again, you're going to probably need something like that when you go to Philly, which is a tough, atmosphere to play at. You're going to need some luck like that, and if it continues for them, Washington could definitely find themselves with a victory on Sunday.
They definitely could be. They definitely could. They definitely could. I could definitely see. I could definitely see it happening for Washington if they do all those things. Now we'll get to our prediction for the game, and for me, I think this is going to be a really close game. It's crazy to think the Commanders have a good chance to get to the Super Bowl, but they do. Who would have thought before the season that we'd be talking about the Commanders in an NFC Championship game with a chance to get to the Super Bowl, and they have a really good chance. And obviously, it's obviously because of Jaden Daniels, but another reason why is their defense is pretty good. But here's the thing for the Eagles: I think Saquon's going to have a good game. I think he's been so good. And the Commanders, the one area where they struggle, and you said it was against the run. They're 30th, and they were 30th this year in the league in run defense. I think that Saquon does have a really good game. I think he goes for over 100 yards. So I do think the Eagles move the ball. Now, do they score every time they get in the red zone? No, because I think Hurts' mobility will limit them. I think Hurts' lack of mobility will limit them. I think he may turn the ball over once, and I think they were not going to score every time they get in the red zone. And for the Commanders, I think Jaden Daniels plays well, but I think the issue in this game is I think they'll run the ball better than they did in the 2 previous games. But I think the issue is going to be their best offensive lineman. I think I can't remember his last name, but their best offensive lineman, he's a guard. He's going to be out of this game. So I think they're not going to be able to run the ball that well. And I do think the Eagles are going to get pressure on Daniels. I do think that's going to happen. And I think that's ultimately going to be the difference in the game. I think that the Eagles getting pressure on Daniels and maybe forcing a mistake or 2, and the Eagles being able to run the ball. That's why I think they get to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. I think their front 4 with Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, who's a beast. That sack he had last week against the Rams was awesome. He's a beast. I think Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and Williams, who's a pretty good player too. I think their front 4, and I think their front 4 getting pressure on Daniels and the run game is going to be the difference in this game for the Eagles, and that's why I got the Eagles. I hate to say this. I got the Eagles going to their second Super Bowl in 3 years, beating the Commanders 24-20. But Justin, can Daniels and the Commanders continue their dream season and get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I got Washington this one, 27-23. Wow. Yeah, I have not been that impressed with the Eagles so far for the first 2 rounds. And I said a few minutes ago, I think out of the 4 teams, Washington's playing the best football right now. And if Hurts isn't totally healthy, 100%, I think Washington stacks the box. They contain Barkley enough there, and I don't see the Eagles defense making enough stops. And the Eagles kicking game has been kind of, with Elliott has been kind of a question mark too. He's missed some kicks. I could see him missing one on Sunday too. That's a crucial one. So Washington with the fourth down magic as well. I think Jaden Daniels puts up big numbers again, and I think the Eagles. I know they were cruising the second time around, and Hurts got banged up and he left the game, and Washington came back there. But I think Washington can make enough stops in this game, and I think the way Washington's offense is rolling, Daniels puts up huge numbers again, and they get the victory.
Yeah, and you talk about it. Washington playing the best football right now. You got a good point there. You got a good point that the way they played against Detroit, I mean, the way they were able to run the ball, the way Daniels played, the way their defense was able to force turnovers in that game, and yeah, you look at a team like the Eagles, their passing game has struggled, and even look at the Bills last week. Baltimore pretty much handed them the game. Let's be honest. I know the Bills did make mistakes, but Baltimore pretty much handed them the game. And you could kind of say the same thing about Houston. I mean, I know Kansas City won by 2 scores, but you can kind of say the same thing about Kansas City in a way. Houston special teams were a disaster, an absolute disaster in that game, and they couldn't protect C.J. Stroud. So I think you've got a point with Washington with Washington out of the 4 teams playing the best football right now.
Yeah, because you can make the case that all 4 teams that won last week were outplayed by their opponents.
Yeah,
maybe besides Washington, but Detroit had a couple of turnovers.
Yeah, but pretty much outside of what you said it outside of Washington. Yeah, you could say all three or 4 teams that won got outplayed.
Yeah, so that's why I really like to watch the team. They got the mojo, and the Kansas City like 220 yards of offense. Houston had 336, and Buffalo too. I know we'll get to them as well, but yeah, like Baltimore easily. I know Mark Andrews, couple plays go differently. Yeah, Baltimore maybe sitting there. So yeah, that's why and again, I think this is a Washington team too that they really got nothing to lose too. Where that Eagles home crowd, they gone down 7-0 early. That's not a place that stays calm and relaxed.
You are so right about that. Washington is the team that's coming. That's why a quick start for Philly, a fast start like they did last week when they scored in that first possession. A fast start is crucial because if Washington gets the lead, you're going to see that Philly crowd get restless. And you said it. You're playing a Commander team with nothing to lose.
Yeah, you are. And Dan Quinn, I know, the new Super Bowl. I know what happened in that game, and being up 28-3 in that game, and he's kind of been there before, and he's done a really nice job. So yeah, I think that team's gonna go in there. The way Daniels was playing, that guy's got so much confidence in the world right now, and the Philly offense right now, outside of Barkley, just hasn't been that impressive. And I think the Commanders could just go in there and be able to win this football game, and mentioned a couple of times that it's a team that nobody thought was gonna be here, and I could easily see them beating Philly here on Sunday afternoon and getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we definitely can. I don't think they're going to win, but I definitely could see it happening. I definitely can see it happening. Now, I think they're going to cover the spread. It's a 6-point spread. Might be. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points, especially with Hurts banged up. So I definitely could see it happen. I definitely could see I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Eagles have the better team, and I think that they have more experience in this spot. But I could see it with the way Jaden Daniels has played. I could see it happen. I definitely could see it happen. So should be a really good game. An NFC's battle. You got two NFC's teams battling for a spot in New Orleans in 2 weeks. So should be a really good game between the Commanders and Eagles. But we got to move on to the AFC Championship game. And these 2 teams, we got 2 quarterbacks that we always expect to see at this time of year. Josh Allen for the Bills, Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs. This is their 4th playoff matchup. The Bills are 0-3 against them. Now, in the regular season, the Bills have had their way with the Chiefs. They've beaten them 4 times. Allen is 4-1 against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, but in the postseason, Allen is 0-3 against Mahomes. So we got the 9th meeting between Allen and Mahomes. Actually, here's the ironic thing. It's actually even between the 2. It's 4-4. The problem is the Bills are 0-3 against the Chiefs in the regular season. And again, we'll do just like we did for the Commanders and the Eagles. We'll talk about, what these teams have to do to win the game. And we'll start with the 2-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs. And number 1, it's going to be protect Patrick Mahomes. Protect Patrick Mahomes. They got to protect him. Because if they let Gregory Rousseau and Epinesa and Ed Oliver get pressure on him, we saw a lot of the reason why the Chiefs offense struggled a little bit in that Houston game was because Houston got pressure on him. Houston got pressure on him. But if they can protect Mahomes, I think they're going to do a good job moving the ball because I think they can get the game going. So they're able to protect Mahomes. And I do like the move. I do still like Joe Tooney playing at left tackle. I think that was a great move. That definitely has helped Kansas City's offense this year. So I think number 1, they have to protect Mahomes. Number 2, contain the Bills' run game. Number 1, I think one reason why they got to do that is because, I know it's crazy to say let Josh Allen beat you, but really, who does Josh Allen have who's really a great pass catcher on that team? There really isn't anyone because Amari Cooper really hasn't been great since he's been there. Keon Coleman hasn't been. Shakir is his best guy. Has been his best guy all year, but he's decent. He's not great. And same thing with same thing in the tight end with the tight end. So it's really just you can, if you contain this run game, I think they could give the Bills some problems. I know in the first matchup they did, and Josh Allen was great, but I think it's a very tough offense to defend because of how great Allen is, and with that run game, it's a very efficient offense. But I think the best way to doing it is containing that run game. So I think number two, it's contain the run game, and then number three, don't let Josh Allen beat you with his legs. You gotta have. You're gonna play man coverage, and it looks like the Chiefs will probably play man coverage because they play a lot of man coverage. Have Nick Bolton be a spy for Josh Allen. Do not let him beat you with his legs because you saw what he did last week. He had 2 touchdown runs last week. When they got in the red zone last week, they used Josh Allen. 2 touchdown runs last week. We all know in week 11 he had that huge. On 4th and 2, he had that huge touchdown run against them to close out the game. So the biggest thing for the Chiefs, do not Josh Allen let him beat you with his legs. Don't let him beat you with his legs. So my 3 things: protect Mahomes, contain their run game, and don't let Allen beat you with his legs. If they do those 3 things, the Chiefs got a very good chance to get to another Super Bowl.
Yeah, and also to your last point there with Josh Allen, make sure that he doesn't beat you with your legs because he is such a great runner. And 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, you're drop back, and you think they're going to throw the ball, and he kind of take off and pick up the first down with his legs. So he's really dangerous in that. You mentioned the last, the game clincher in week 11 when they met, and he scored the touchdown there. So, he definitely can beat you with his legs, and it's a huge weapon to have. And number 2 is Kansas City's got to run the ball better, especially Isaiah Pacheco this week. They really showed against Houston, and again, they only put up 221 yards of offense. Like, their offense really did not do a lot in that football game. And if they're one-dimensional against Buffalo, they definitely could lose the football game. So they gotta get Pacheco going. And even Kareem Hunt, I know, he did average over 5 yards of carry. But those 2 really need to have a good day on the ground. And number 3 is get Josh Allen to make a mistake. He's done a lot better job this year protecting the football. That was kind of his big weakness the last couple of years was, and if you can get an extra possession against that Buffalo offense that's been rolling right now and been rolling most of the year, especially when your offense hasn't been clicking most of the year, that could be a huge thing against this team. So, don't let Allen beat you with his feet. Try to get him forced turnover and kind of slow down or get your running game back going with Pacheco and Hunt.
Yeah, it's a good point with the run game because they would always help, having that run game going and having 2 dimensions. And you made a good point with the turnover. The turnovers are big. Yeah, if they can force a turnover, get a short field, that would be big. But especially against let's be honest, Buffalo's offense, you could argue, I think overall is actually better than. I think Allen's a little bit better. I think Mahomes is better than Allen, but I think Buffalo's offense as a whole is actually better. So if you can get it, if you can force a turnover, get a short field, I think that would be huge for Kansas City. I think that would be really, really be big in this game. But that would definitely be crucial for Kansas City in this game. Now we'll move on to what the Bills have to do to finally get to the Super Bowl. What the Bills have to do to finally get to the Super Bowl. And for me, number 1, as I said with the Chiefs, to stop the run game, the Bills got to do what they've done all year with their offense, get the run game going with James Cook, with Ty Johnson. They've done a really, really good job getting that run game. They've done a really, really good job getting that with that run game. That's kind of became the identity of that offense. It's really became the identity of the offense, especially when they traded Stephon Diggs, and especially in the second half of the season when Allen was turning the ball over. They've really become a running team, and it's really helped this offense becoming a running team. Getting that run game going has really helped this offense. And like I said earlier, too, the pass catchers in Buffalo, Allen makes those guys better than they are because Cooper has not been great. Kincaid is okay. Shakir is decent. And Coleman is a rookie. So the run game is going to be crucial for Buffalo. And also, it keeps Mahomes off the field, too. So the run game is going to be very crucial for Buffalo on Sunday. Number 2, like I said, protect Mahomes, get pressure on Mahomes. Get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's huge for that offense. Because if they can get pressure on Mahomes and get him off his spot, I think that could be really key. I think they could force a turnover. I think they'd be able to, the Chiefs won't score as many points if you get pressure on Mahomes. So that's definitely a big key. Now, They blitzed a little bit more in the first matchup. I expect them to blitz a little bit more and play some man coverage because they did that against the Ravens. I think they're going to do that against the Chiefs. I think they're going to blitz and play man coverage. So at times, I think that's something I definitely see the Bills doing, getting pressure on Mahomes is the key. And number 3, contain Travis Kelce, because last week Travis Kelce showed you in the playoffs why he's still one of the top tight ends in football. So they got to contain him because he's definitely their best threat on offense. He's definitely Kansas City's best threat on offense. The run game is up and down. Worthy has been okay. He's been okay. DeAndre Hopkins, his best days are behind him, and Hollywood Brown doesn't have that much time with Patrick Mahomes. So being able to contain Travis Kelce is going to be very, very key for the Bills. Those are my 3 keys to the Bills getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, mine. I'll start with your last one because I had that one as well. Don't let Kelce, kind of beat you because every time he needs a big play, he's wide open. I don't know how he's wide open every time. It's not like it's not like he's a speed burner anymore. So make sure he's not wide open every time because, again, he could still break a couple tackles and a 5-10 yard game turns into a 20-yard game. And, and that's, could be a huge play Kansas City could need. And number 2 for Buffalo is Amari Cooper needs to step up and play like a number 1 receiver.
That's a really good one because he really hasn't the entire time he's been there. He's been traded there.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't been the big impact I think everybody thought he was or would be. And, Shakir has been good. Like, he's found other guys, but if they could really if Amari Cooper could have his breakout game in Buffalo, Sunday would be the day to have it. Number 3, Buffalo's going to have to battle the voodoo magic and the officials in this one. Like, you're going to.
I hate that we're talking about this, and I hate that we're talking about it, but I hate that I got to agree with you on this, but I might have to. I have to agree. Now, I don't condone what Houston was doing last week. Especially Will Anderson. Stop. You lost the game by 2 scores. Stop complaining. How about you get better? How about you get on their level? Stop doing that. Stop talking about stop with that. But the officials, yes, there were some rough calls last week. I will admit that there were some rough calls against Houston last week.
I like how Troy Aikman called out Mahomes because there's a reason why I can't stand James Harden's the flopping stuff. I can't stand it, but I do have some numbers to back it up of the officiating going one way. It's from Warren Sapp from ESPN. So in the last 4 years, so the 11 playoff games, in 10 of the 11 of the games, the KC opponents had more penalties than Kansas City. The opponents have had 7 roughing the passers calls. Kansas City's only had 1. There have been 4 unnecessary roughness calls on the opponents, only 1 on Kansas City, and 11 defensive PIs or holdings on KC's opponents, only 2 on Kansas City. So there are some numbers to back that up. But so you're good. And Kansas City has 12 one-score games or has won 12 one-score games this year. Like, there's some voodoo there. You're going to have to overcome that. You're probably going to have to overcome a bad call. It's just going to happen. But the thing about Mahomes is, look, he's a great player. I can't stand how he fakes the running out of bounds and runs back in, and then he gets a 15-yard flag. Because I don't know what a defender can do. And I get it because it's Mahomes. He's going to get the start treatment, but it's ridiculous. And I think he's too good of a player to do stuff like that. Again, that's why I can't stand some of the NBA guys because of flopping stuff. And the one flopping out of bounds too drove me crazy. Like, I understood what the Texans were saying, but yes, like, you kind of caught yourself with the game with the special teams and all that, and you didn't protect Stroud very well. But I do get it is getting ridiculous, and I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans lost that game because their special teams was terrible and they couldn't protect Stroud. It wasn't because of the officiating, but yeah, there are rough calls, and you brought it up. There have been the officials the Chiefs have gotten calls. They have gotten calls. I'll admit that, but also the reason why they've won and they've been successful. I know the refs, they've gotten calls at times, but the reason why they've won, in my opinion, has been because Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal, Andy Reid is phenomenal, and Brett Beacham has done a great job drafting, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Look at some of their draft picks on defense. Trent McDuffie, he's a lockdown corner. He's became a lockdown corner. You saw what he did with Nico Collins last week. Nick Bolton's been a really good linebacker. George Karlaftis had a huge week getting pressure on the quarterback. So, yeah, you talk about the officiating, and I know you brought the stats to back it up, and you do have the stats, and Casey has gotten calls. It's not the main reason why this team wins games. They win games because they have a great quarterback, coach, and a GM that's done a really, really good job drafting defensive players.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's the only reason why they're winning games. I'm just saying, like, there's probably going to be a call or two that's going to go against Buffalo, and you're going to have to just play through it. Like,
I get it.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
That's probably going to happen. Yeah, that's probably going to happen.
Yeah. it probably will. And that's all I don't think it's the only reason they've won because of the officials. It's, again, you're playing in Kansas City, you're being the home team, usually do get a call to your favorite. But yeah, they've done a really good drafting. They've done a really good job developing guys. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. He's probably the best quarterback in the league right now. So, he's phenomenal. You know, the defense has been great. The way it's back has really fixed that defense the last couple years. So yeah, I'm not trying to say that just the officials why they're winning these games, but it's just more of a Buffalo. You're gonna have to play probably through a bad call or two. And again, like last week, you know, felt like Houston got a stop, and then the flag would come out, and the KC would have a first down. Like you may give up a flag on third down. May not be a great call, but then you're gonna have to come back and still try to bunker down and get a stop.
Yeah. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. Let's just say we hope the officials don't decide this game. We hope we see a great game between two great quarterbacks. We hope the officials don't decide this game, but we'll see what happens there. Now before we get to our prediction on the game, we got predictions on the game. We got a comment from Hector. Chiefs trying to become the fourth team to get to 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Yep, Miami Dolphins from 71 to 73 when they lost the Super Bowl, and they won 2 straight. In the middle of that was that undefeated season. And then you got Buffalo. We all know Buffalo, 4 straight Super Bowls. And then New England. We know New England. That could have been a three-peat. If Malcolm Butler doesn't get benched, that could have been a three-peat because New England, they had that comeback in 2016, lost the Eagles in 2017, and then beat the Rams in 2018. So, yes, the Chiefs trying to become the 4th team to get to 3 consecutive Super Bowls. And now we'll get to our prediction. We'll see if we'll get to our predictions on the game. And for me, I think in this game, I think it's going to be a great game. I think both teams are going to be able to move the ball. I think Buffalo is going to be able to control is going to be able to run the ball with James Cook and Ty Johnson. But I think the issue with Buffalo is I think they're going to have an issue stopping Mahomes. I think the running game of the Chiefs with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they're going to be able to run the ball. I think Mahomes throws a touchdown pass or 2. I think this comes down to the end. I think this game comes down to the end. I think both offenses are efficient. I think they play well. I don't think there's many turnovers in this game. I think it comes down to the end. I think it comes down to either, the Chiefs trying to stop Josh Allen at the end, or Patrick Mahomes having the ball in his hands late in the game and winning the game with a touchdown. But I think it's going to come down to the end. But it's just so hard to go against the Chiefs. And I picked them before the season to 3-peat, and I'm going to pick them here. I'm going to pick them here to get to their to get to their fifth Super Bowl in 6 years. Fifth Super Bowl in 6 years. Fifth Super Bowl in 6 years. I got the Chiefs getting to their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years, beating the Bills 28-24, and getting to their 3rd straight Super Bowl. And as Hector said, the 4th team to get to 3 straight Super Bowls. So I got the Chiefs getting their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years, and then getting to the 3rd straight Super Bowl. But Justin, can Josh Allen and the Bills finally beat the Chiefs in the playoffs and get to their first Super Bowl in over 30 years?
Let's hope so, but I have Kansas City as well, 24-21 here. You mentioned kind of how this game could end and, what quarterback has the ball last. I don't know I don't trust Buffalo to make a stop late in the game. You saw Baltimore last week went down the field and scored. Now, Buffalo probably had time. They could have gone back down and got a field goal anyways, but big stop. They couldn't get the big stop there, and I don't want to rag on the guy because I know it's been going through it the last couple of days, but Mark Andrews makes that catch, and it's a tie game, and who knows what happens. So
Baltimore pretty much handed him the game, and Lamar Jackson had a good amount, had something to do with it too with that fumble.
Yeah, it was not a great day for Baltimore. They kind of shot themselves in the foot on Sunday. But I don't trust Buffalo still to make a big stop in Arrowhead in the 4th quarter. I just don't. And I know Buffalo's offense has been rolling, and Kansas City's been hasn't been great, but I don't know. I still have a little bit more pause because I have to see somebody go inside of Arrowhead and beat Kansas City before I can really fully buy into them. And it just feels like every time Buffalo gets the spot, you think they're going to overcome it. They did last week, but now against Kansas City, they had them at home last year too, and they couldn't get over the hump. I know they're better this year, but I just have to see them do it because every time you get to this point, you feel like they're going to do it. They never do. And I know Josh Allen's good enough; he'll get a ring eventually. Maybe this will be the year he finally gets over. But I just have to see it to believe it first. And I just see Mahomes making a huge play in the 4th quarter and Kansas City finding a way to get the win.
And you said it. I got to see it to believe it, and that's the same with me. Until I see it, I can't pick it. Really, the only teams that have had the only guys who've had success against Mahomes in the playoffs have been Brady. He beat him twice with the Pats and the Bucks, and then Joe Burrow. beat him in that AFC Championship game 3 years ago. So yeah, as you said, until you see it, you really can't pick it, and that's why I think that's the biggest reason why we both have the Chiefs here. We both have the Chiefs here getting to their third Super Bowl in a row and their fifth Super Bowl in 5 years. So I got the Chiefs and the Eagles. You got the Chiefs and Commanders. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Should be a fun day with these two games. But we got to get to some league news, and we'll start with the Bears. They hire Ben Johnson as their head coach. And the big question here is this the right move? Is this the right move to pass on Mike McCarthy and hire Ben Johnson? I could see both sides of this. Because McCarthy's offense in Dallas was getting very stale and outdated. And Ben Johnson, you see him. He's the best offensive mind in football, and he's really going to help Caleb Williams. Now, the other side of it is, how is he going to be a leader of men? How is he going to coach a team? Because Mike McCarthy, say what you want about him, he's had a bunch of winning seasons. He's not a great coach, but he's had a bunch of winning seasons for his coaching career. He's had a ton of head coaching experience. Ben Johnson doesn't have any head coaching experience. I think it's a good move for Caleb Williams. The big question for me is, how is he going to be a leader of men, and how is he going to coach the entire team? Now, what you saw yesterday when he went into the office and he was all excited, and he did have his press conference today. I didn't see any of it yet, but I'll end up seeing it eventually. But yesterday in the office, he seemed excited. But I think the big question here with Ben Johnson, is he going to be a leader of men? And he's got to coach more than Caleb Williams. You got to coach more than the quarterback to be a successful head coach. Can he be a leader of men, and can he turn this franchise around? Because this franchise has not been good for the last 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it seems like it's the right hire, and I get, the McCarthy stuff too, because that's a guy too that's done a really good, he's had Rodgers, he's had Dak, and, he's been around, and you kind of know that, yeah, he might not get you a Super Bowl, but he's going to get the most out of his players. And yeah, with Ben Johnson, is it my word? And I know working with Campbell probably kind of shows you how to be a leader, but not everybody has Campbell's personality. And I don't know if Ben Johnson's like that at all. But again, like, wasn't Matt Nagy when he came over, he was so creative. I know he didn't like call the plays, and maybe it's a little bit different, but like, their offense was so boring when he became the head coach. Like, again, that offense was putrid under him for the most part. After like his second year there. So that's, is he going to bring all that creativity to this group or to this team? We'll have to see. But it seems like they're higher to hopefully get Caleb Williams the potential that I think everybody sees in him. But you just, you never know how these things are going to work out with these coaches. But it seems like they made the right decision. They had to go offense instead of defense. They did it. Now let's see if it pans out, because they've never had a 4,000-yard passer in their history, which is it's insane.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. And you said, and you like the hire, but you said you never know how it's going to work out. Ben Johnson's a guessing game. It's a guessing game. Mike McCarthy, I think you know what you're getting. Yeah, it's probably going to be an outdated scheme. It's probably going to be an outdated scheme for Caleb Williams, but you're getting a leader of men. Ben Johnson, you don't know what you're getting at all. But that's why there's questions for me with this. That's why there's questions for me with taking him over Mike McCarthy. But the positive side of it is you got a really young offensive mind for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, you do, which they definitely needed. And, we'll see. I know they really need to work on building that off the line, even, because they have the weapons. He gets, the old, Detroit, not Montgomery. I'm thinking David Montgomery, but I know he's with the old, he gets the running back now in the Bears. I don't know why I'm
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift. My mind kept going with Montgomery. I'm like, he's on the Lions now. Or he's been on the line. So, but yeah, like, he gets to work with him again. He did a really nice job with Swift up there. So, we'll see. Like, they have the weapons, and now for Caleb, he's never been in a real, like, he was with Lincoln, he was never really in a structured offense. So it's a lot different for him, and we'll see if he kind of reel him in here and can help develop him. Because and that's gonna be a big thing. We'll see if he can bring his creativity. Against Saturday night, being down 2 scores, having Jameson Williams throw that end around pass did not love that.
That was a bad call. That was a really bad
call.
You got your quarterback's been really good all year. Trust him down 10. I know he threw 2 picks in the game, but trust him down 10. Your quarterback's been really good all year. Trust him down 10. There, don't throw that.
Yeah.
Don't have Jameson Williams throwing a pass when you're down by 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I completely agree. Or even, like, I know it was still the fourth, but like, you've been running the ball so well on a 2 all day. Like, it's 1st and 10. Even try to he didn't get 8-9 yards on a carry too. So yeah, that was a little surprising call. So we'll see. Again, the shine wore off on Mike McDaniel very quickly. It's play calling. Could it be the same here? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It should be interesting to see what happens with Ben Johnson in Chicago. But before we wrap up the NFL, we'll talk about your team bringing back for the third time Josh McDaniels as their offensive coordinator. And for me, this was the best guy out there. It was the best guy out there. I think it's a good hire. Now Drake May's got to learn a new system, but I think McDaniels is really good to learn from. I mean, Brady had a ton of success. Even Mac Jones that first year had the most success in his career with Josh McDaniels as OC. Josh McDaniels is a really good OC. I really like what New England's done. I really like what New England's done with the coaching staff, hiring Vrabel, bringing McDaniels is the guy we thought they were going to bring in. So I like this move. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. McDaniels, I've again been a big fan. I know, the one worry for me too is if they brought in somebody else, like if they have a great year, does that OC now get a head coaching gig? And Drake May's working with third OC, and that should not be the case. I can't imagine Jack McDaniels gets a third opportunity to be the head coach. So yeah, I think he did a really nice. You mentioned it. He's done a nice job with Mac Jones his first year, his rookie year, and then Tom Brady, obviously. So I think he's a good guy to learn from. Kendrick Bourne was very happy too. He's coming back, so hopefully he gets more involved. And yeah, I like the addition. I like their DC hire today. Tyrell Williams, the Lions
he's a
defensive
guy.
line coach. I like that hire.
But he was with Vrabel. He was with Vrabel.
Yeah.
I mean, the offense is definitely more important of a hire because Vrabel's a defensive guy. But yeah, you have a defensive coordinator who worked with Mike Vrabel previously in Tennessee.
Yeah, so yeah, I like the hire so far, and especially with the way that Lions defensive line was this year, because man, they need to get that pass rush going back. So yeah, to bring in McDaniels too, I think this is a perfect guy to for Drake May, and hopefully now it's about getting the talent offensively for McDaniels and Drake May, and yeah, hopefully continue to develop him. And I'm hoping Alex Van Pelt's like a QB coach is somehow still involved. I'm hoping, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything on that yet.
To me, Alex Van Pelt's gone.
Probably.
You're not going to see him at the OC. He's gone. But I think good move for the Patriots, and I really like their offseason so far. We'll see what Elliott Wolf does. We'll see what Elliott Wolf, Mike Vrabel do to improve the team free agency. But so far, so good for the Patriots this offseason. But we have a new national champion in college football. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
Alrighty, so Monday night we put a bow on the college football season and the first 12-team playoff, and a fun playoff, and the best team, pretty much the most talented team, won the national championship, and that was Ohio State. They beat Notre Dame 34-23. It was a game where Ohio State looked like they were going to blow them up, but Notre Dame, as they've done all year, fought back, made it a game. But Ohio State, in the end, Jeremiah Smith, their star, was a star. He made the play, won the game, and Ohio State wins the national title. And Justin, I'll start with you. Why did Ohio State get this national? Why did Ohio State win the national title on Monday night?
I don't know if Schefter just broke that Aaron Glenn taking the Jet job. I don't know if you want to go back to that for a second, or you want me?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to Aaron Glenn. So we have breaking news here. Aaron Glenn has just been hired as the head coach of the Jets. It looked like it was a done deal. It looked like it was close to a done deal last night. Aaron Glenn is hired as the head coach of the Jets, and the big question is right now: Is this the right hire? Is this the right hire for the Jets? Hiring Aaron Glenn as the head coach, and honestly, I think it's another coach without experience. I like Aaron Glenn. He played for the Jets, but he played for the Jets, but it's another head coach without experience. He has no head coaching experience, and yes, he did a really good job as defensive coordinator of the Lions, but I probably would have went with, again. I probably would have went with Mike McCarthy here. I probably would have went with Mike McCarthy or maybe Brian Flores. I know he played for the team. I know he denied an interview from the Patriots too. So that's all. There's something with that. But do I love the hire? I just think it's another. To me, I like Aaron. I liked him as the DC in Detroit, but it's another first-year head coach. Another guessing game. It's a guessing game for the Jets. Just like it was with Robert Saleh. It's another guessing game for the Jets. And you thought they would want to learn from their previous mistake with Robert Saleh.
Yeah, because there's a lot of unknowns, like what are you going to do with Rodgers this offseason? Who's going to be the new GM? So that's going to be something. You don't even know who kind of the Aaron Glenn's boss is going to be, above him, I guess, or who's going to be working with. So, which is always a question. But yeah, it's always these first-year guys or first-time head coaches, you never know what you're going to get out of them. And like that defense should have been a lot better than it was on paper. And again, firing Saleh, I don't think helped it because all break you saw was not, he was not ready to be that coach, and it took his attention away from the defense being that coach, and that really hurt the defense. So there's some talent there, but also it's like you probably could have gone McCarthy, but like you're hiring Rex Ryan, which I wanted that to go back. I wanted to see that one again. I know he had a great 2 years, two first years. The last 4 were not great, and like I don't know if it was just trying to fulfill their Rooney rules, like they interviewed Mike Locksley, the Maryland coach, and it was like, why? Like he's not very good. Like Maryland's kind of teetering on firing him, so I don't understand that one. So yeah, he might like him and McCarthy are probably the 2 best candidates. So maybe you take a shot here with Glenn, and maybe you find something. He's a former player. He's going to be very passionate. He knows how the New York media works. But yeah, we'll see. It's always a question.
Yeah, the interesting thing is what happens with Rodgers. And honestly, I think this hire means you get rid of that circus with Aaron Rodgers. I think you get Rodgers out of there. I think that's what that means. Depending on what the GM is, I'm checking Schefter's Twitter right now. They haven't announced the GM yet, so we'll see what happens there. And then number two, I think the reason why this could be a good hire is because of the fact that this defense will play better. Like Sauce Gardner, he's going to play. He's going to be better now because Aaron Glenn's there. Because Aaron Glenn was a corner for the Jets. He's a corner for the Jets. He's going to motivate this defense. This defense, big reason why, Aaron Rodgers fell off last year, but a big reason why the Jets were 5-12 is because their defense really fell off as well, especially after Robert Saleh got fired. So I think the positive with this move is the defense will be better. The negative with this move is he's got no head coaching experience at all. And that was the case with the previous Jets coach who failed.
I think we got you're back. Sorry, I think you lost you there for a sec.
So what I said was, the positive is that this guy, the defense will be improved, but the negative is the guy has no head coaching experience coming into this job, just like Robert Saleh and Todd Bowles, who they hired before Adam Gase. So I think that's the negative with this move.
Yeah, it is, and it is. Yeah, 'cause the defense really fell off, and the other thing is too is I don't know if like who's the owner? Like, is Woody here? Did he go take a ambassador role again with President Trump, and where he was, I think, ambassador of Ireland. I think I don't know if it's him. I don't know if he left it with his brother again. I'm not quite sure either. So maybe that will come out in the coming days. But according from Brian Costello, the Jets for the GM candidates, they did interview Lance Newmark yesterday, which I believe is the
It looks like
assistant
Newmark's
at
the assistant
Washington.
in Washington. It looks like he's the one who's going to get the job too, because because I saw a tweet from Connor Hughes that said the Jets were informing candidates that they were going to go in the direction of hiring Aaron Glenn and hiring Newmark as their GM.
Okay, so yeah, so we'll see. Newmark's, they did a great job down there this year in Washington. So we'll see. But yeah, I think always hiring a rookie coach and a rookie GM's tough, especially man in New York. But hey, maybe they hit it out of the park. One of these coaches they have to get right eventually, right? Like
Exactly.
it's been bad after bad after bad. So at some point you got to get it right.
Yeah.
So maybe this is it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But Aaron Glenn is now officially the next, because it was rumored that he was going to be. Now Aaron Glenn is officially the head coach of the New York Jets. So now back to the national championship game with Ohio State. We'll reset. Ohio State beat Notre Dame 34-23. I mean, it looked like a blowout, but it ended up being a pretty good game. Notre Dame fought back, but Jeremiah Smith came through at the end. But we'll start with you, Justin. When we talk about the national title game, why did Ohio State win this national championship?
For me, Ohio State won this game because then again they just had they had more talent than Notre Dame, and I thought early on they did a really nice job of getting all three of the receivers involved early. They each had a catch within like the first 15 plays, so they got involved early. Number two was Will Howard was unbelievable. He put up he had a really good game, and they tailed the offense perfectly for him. They didn't. Again, he really only took one shot downfield. That was a Jeremiah Smith play on like 3rd and 11. Everything else was like short, easy completions, and he didn't really. They just needed him to manage the game, and that's exactly what he did. And number three, they didn't make too many mistakes. Like the only one I really could remember was Meke Ibuke, the fumble. That was really about it. Like that was a thing for me last week. As long as they don't beat themselves, they should win this football game. So yeah, for Ohio State, they just had a little bit more talent than Notre Dame. Will Howard played really well, and they didn't really make too many mistakes that would have cost them the football game.
Yeah, I think one of mine is the same with Will Howard. He did a great job protecting the ball. Will Howard didn't turn the ball over. That's what we talked about early on. That's why they lost to Michigan. It's because he didn't protect the football. I think Will Howard did a really, really good job of protecting the football. That was one of the reasons why they were able to win. One of them for me too is they shut down Notre Dame's running game. Notre Dame was shut down in the run game. They really stopped doing it in the second half because Ohio State did shut down Price. They shut down Love. I know they only ran it 7 times combined between the two of them, but they completely shut down that running game. They did a really, really good job shutting that running game down. And on the flip side, they did a great job running the ball with Henderson and Junkins. That's why, their offense, their offense scored on 5 straight possessions because they were able to run the football and make the game easier for Will Howard. And that's why, got him into easy third downs. That's why they went 9 for 12 on third down, because they were able to get them into easy third down situations. So that's another reason why they won. And then lastly for me, they got the ball to their star at the end. They got the ball. They threw the ball to Jeremiah Smith at the game of the line, and he delivered. And that's the last reason why they won that game. So for me, that's why Ohio State won the national title. Now we shift over to Notre Dame, the team that lost the national championship. Justin, why did they lose the national championship game?
Fortunately, you can't run Riley Leonard 9 times every drive. He had 9 carries in that first drive, and he was thrown up on the sidelines after that. And again, I know I think Marcus Freeman said it. We couldn't run him to the ground because they did there on the first drive, and that brings me to that second point. You mentioned it too with Ohio State is they got nothing out of their 2 running backs. They had 7 carries, they did nothing off of that, and they stifled it, and Notre Dame had could not get anything going in the running game. And number 3 for me was I thought Riley Leonard threw the ball pretty well, and where they should have let him air it out a little bit earlier on in that game, because I thought he had one of his better games through the air on Monday night, and maybe it makes a little bit more of a difference because they got it going there in the second half, and especially the way kind of the Penn State game, went to Georgia game, where they really didn't do much of the air. I thought they did a good job, and I thought they should have maybe trusted him a little bit more.
Yeah, Greyhouse was really good. Greyhouse was
Yeah.
really good in the second half.
Yeah, he was, and he's a freshman, I think, too. Like he's, maybe
So
big
I think
Notre Dame wide
sophomore.
receiver
I
didn't
thought I
leak well.
said sophomore.
Yeah, maybe sophomore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So again, maybe that big Notre Dame receiver that they've been kind of missing. And I thought maybe they even should have packaged Steven Jelly too, just to throw the ball a little bit. Maybe that they could have used that a little
Because
bit.
you saw that in the semifinal against Penn State. That's
Yeah.
what saved them. That's what got some momentum on their side in that Penn State game, was having Angeli have that drive.
Yeah, it did it. Got him the halftime with a little confidence. So yeah, for me that was kind of Notre Dame was kind of that the running game and just not being able to run Riley Leonard 100 times in that football game because they couldn't stop him on that first drive.
Yeah, exactly. So mine is kind of similar to you, where they run with their running backs did nothing in the game. I think that was a big reason why they needed to run the ball. I think they ran Leonard too much, and they didn't use their running backs enough. And when they used their running back, they did nothing. So that's one of my reasons why. The offense did not score for 4 straight possessions, and a big reason why is they weren't aggressive. They really weren't. They really weren't aggressive. They weren't throwing when they got down 31-7. They started to get aggressive and they started to move the ball. So they really didn't. They really didn't get aggressive until they got down 31-7. I know a lot of times during the year they really weren't in those situations much during the season. They really weren't. And I'll tell you, really, the only time I really remember them being in that situation was in the fourth quarter against Penn State, and they scored it because Penn State's corner foul on Greyhouse's touchdown. But when they started to throw the ball down the field, they started to have a lot of success on offense. So I think they waited to be aggressive on offense. And then the main reason why they lost this game, their defense couldn't get off the field. 5 straight possessions Ohio State scored. They went 9 for 12 on third down, and on the biggest third down of the game, they couldn't stop them. And Jeremiah Smith made the play. For me, those are the reasons why Notre Dame lost the national title. Now, there's 2 big decisions that Notre Dame made in this game that were questionable. The first one, I think, was the most questionable, was when it was 31-15 in the middle of the fourth quarter, and on fourth down, Marcus Freeman chose to kick the field goal, which was a very, very weird call, and ended up backfiring on him because Jeter missed the field goal. The question is should have Freeman went for it on fourth down? For me, I think he definitely should have went for it on fourth down, because there was no way he was going to score 2 touchdowns in that spot. He should have definitely, because if he scores a touchdown there, it's a 1-score game. It's a 1-score game versus being a 2-score game with a field goal. So it could have been a 1-score game, because you never know if they would have gotten the point after, but they did get the point after they scored the last touchdown. So yeah, I did not agree with Marcus Freeman kicking the field goal there.
No, I agree with you. His reasoning was he said they did not have they did not like a 4th and 9 play that they had. So that was a reasoning. I think you had to go for it because you're making a 2-possession game, and I texted you this. They deserve to miss that kick when you're playing that conservative national championship game when you're an 8-point dog. Like the game's over if you don't. Because even if you don't make it or you don't score the touchdown there, these Ohio State's got to go 90 yards. Like make them go 90 yards, score a touchdown there. So I don't know. I thought they should have gone for it there. Freeman didn't have a great game. I thought he did a really nice job against Penn State. Did not in Georgia. Did not think he called a very good game Monday night. And I know we'll get to the next one too. Why another bad decision there.
Yeah, we'll get to we'll get to the next one. That's them on 3rd and 11 calling a 0 blitz, leaving Jeremiah Smith one-on-one on third down. But I'm going to say this. I don't mind that because they tried everything all night. They tried rushing 4. They tried everything, playing zone, playing man. They tried everything and it didn't work. I just because even if they got it on 3rd and 11 and they doubled Jeremiah Smith and they got a first down, they would have said, everyone would have said, oh well, you should have blitzed there. So I didn't mind the call. Honestly, I didn't mind the call there. I minded the 4th down play a lot more than I minded the call on 3rd down late in the game.
Yeah, for me, I think you've maybe changed my mind a little bit. I think he did it too. I don't know if he thought Kelly would throw the ball there. I don't know if he thought maybe he thought they were just going to run it, play it safe with Junkins or Henderson and give him a handoff there, and that's what he's trying to do. But yeah, maybe he was just trying to find something there because they couldn't get stops. You mentioned it there. Ohio State was 9 for 12 on 3rd down, and Jeremiah Smith makes a huge play there, and the 1-on-1 because that's Notre Dame. All they kind of played all year was that man-to-man, and that was like the one shot that Ohio State took all night. And Howard Howard and Smith capitalized. So yeah, definitely the first one, the fourth down was the bigger one. That one I mind a little bit, but I thought maybe it was more because they just did not think that Kelly or Ryan or or Ryan Day or Chip Kelly wanted to throw the ball there, and they thought they were going to try to run it there on third down, and they were just going to send everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I just think you're in a no-win situation. Whatever you do, and you don't stop me, you're in a no-win situation. I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, it would have bothered me if they had made the field goal there. It would have bothered me if they had made the field goal, or it wouldn't have bothered me if they missed on fourth down because they at least tried to go for it. So yeah, listen, the fourth down call bothered me a lot more than what they did on third down defensively. It was just a rough night for Notre Dame's defense. They hadn't faced an offense like that all year, and it showed. It showed that they hadn't faced an offense like that all year, and Ohio State capitalized and they won the national title. Now, moving on to Ryan Day, what does this win do for him? I think this makes him one of the top coaches in college football. I think it does. He has a national title. I think it makes him one of the top coaches in college football, and I think it makes him one of the top. I think it puts him. Doesn't put him with like Woody Hayes or Urban Meyer, but it puts him there with a Jim Tressel, like Ohio State coach that won a national title. I think this makes him one of the top coaches in college football. Did a really good job recruiting, and he did a really good job coaching this team. In this playoff.
Yeah, he did, and he admitted over the weekend. He said after the Michigan game, he told the team, "I did not put you guys in the best spot to win that football game." Because I've been bringing this up the last couple weeks. It's like I think Ryan Day is a very good coach. Chip Kelly, Jim Knowles are two. Jim Knowles actually, there's some rumors maybe he's going to Oklahoma, so that could be a loss there. He will be the DC down there, but it's a Michigan problem for him because he's great. They've been great pretty much against everybody else. So I do think he's still one of the better coaches in college football. I do think he's done a nice job. Those again, all those kids after the game went right up to him. They still loved him, and after all the criticism that he took, which rightfully so for that Michigan game, that was unexcusable. But he's done a good job, and yeah, I put him there with like the Trestles of the world and Ohio State kind of lore. But yeah, I do think he's a good head coach, and I do like how he brought in Chip to kind of take some pressure off of him calling the plays too. So yeah, I think Ryan Day, overall, it's just a Michigan thing with him. He's got to get over that, and again, he's going to be in the hot seat if he loses again next year to Michigan. That's what it is. So there's a so that's the big thing. It's a Michigan thing for him.
Now, speaking of Michigan, I disagree with you at this point that he's going to be on the hot seat if he loses to Michigan. He just won a national championship. How he won the hot seat if you win a national title? I disagree with that.
I completely agree with you.
But the big question is this Michigan loss now irrelevant for Ohio State? Is this Michigan loss irrelevant? I think it is. I think it's irrelevant. With the 12-team playoff, a loss like that is now irrelevant. I'm sorry to all these traditionalists that say, oh, well, if you don't beat Michigan, it's not a successful season. That's nonsense. And Dave Portnoy doesn't want to give up the crown, the national championship, because his Michigan team at 8-5 beat Ohio State, which is now an irrelevant game in the regular season. And I won't say it's completely irrelevant because it's always been a big game, but it's a game it doesn't mean as much as it used to because Ohio State won the national title and you went 8-5. So I think the loss is irrelevant. I think it's irrelevant. I know those seniors never beat Michigan, but what did they do? They won a national championship.
Yeah, and I completely agree. In the Ohio State football facilities, they have a countdown clock to like beat Michigan.
I
get up 365.
The rivalry's crazy. I get it.
You cross out the M's, like it's such an attempt, and I agree with you. Like it shouldn't be as, but it just is to those two fan bases. Like it's like those two fan bases despise each other, and I love that. That's why I love college football because the rivalries are so intense, and it's a whole different level than pro sports. But for the most part, and yeah, it shouldn't be as meaningful as it is now, but it still is to a certain extent now, and I think that's the thing. And look, now they're the last two national championships now. The Big Ten's got the last two, but it just is like they got to take down that clock. I feel like in that facility, they have to stop crossing the M's.
It's a new world in college football. The 12-team playoff has made it a new world for years. The winner of that Ohio State Michigan games season probably went on, and the loser season definitely ended. But it's a new world in college football, and Ohio State and the Michigan-Ohio State fans need to adjust to it. Gabe Portnoy's got to stop wearing that crown in his head because Michigan was 8-5 this year. Ohio State's the national title. Give up that crown, please, to Ohio State because your team does not deserve to still have the crown. Ohio State deserves to have the crown. Just because you beat them in one game does not make you
That's
keep the crown as the national champion.
That's a problem. I don't think he's the only Michigan fan that probably thinks that. Like there's probably a lot more other Michigan fans that are the same way. The tough weekend for Michigan, the lines, and then you had to cheer for Ohio State or Notre Dame. Probably Notre Dame, which is a big rivalry for Michigan fans too.
Yeah.
So it's a tough weekend for folks up there in Michigan. But yeah, so like that's the problem is the Michigan fans probably go to the Ohio State fans and say we still beat you. And that probably riles up Ohio State fans.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we won a national championship, but they still bragging about, that they beat us. So yeah, you should probably not take it, personally that you won a championship and use that, but that's going to be Michigan's fuel for a while until Ohio State can finally get by them. And I just think it's a way until Ohio State loses too, because it's like everybody knows it's in Ryan Day's head. Everybody knows Jim Harbaugh is in his head, and I think that's why Michigan fans just use it because it just again it was so inexcusable that they lost, and it's just trying to be. See, because I always think Ohio State is they're more of the finesse teams. They always have the top flight wide receivers. They always have the top quarterback. Michigan's always been they got the offensive lineman. They usually have the running back. They usually don't have the great quarterback, but like they're gonna beat you at the line of scrimmage. And until like Ohio State was just trying to beat them at their own game. And I think that's why Michigan fans love it so much because Ohio State can't beat them at Michigan's game. And I think Ryan Day has been trying, and he hasn't been successful the last couple of years.
Yeah, but now to me it's irrelevant. Ryan Day is a national title champion, and Ohio State is a national champion. And the people and the Ohio State and the Ohio State fans, and especially the Michigan fans, got to give up this tradition. And Michigan fans just got to acknowledge that Ohio State is the champion, even though you beat them this year. That is irrelevant now. Ohio State is the champion in 2024. Now, talking about the 12-team playoff system, before we wrap up, we'll talk about the 12-team playoff system. What was your thoughts on it this year? To me, I thought it was good. I think the games got better as the tournament going on, but I think it could have been better. And I think the one thing I will change, I know it's an obvious thing, seed the teams. Just seed the teams. There's no way Boise State – I know I'm a Penn State fan, and they beat Boise State in the quarterfinals, but there's no way Boise State should have been the 3 seed. If they would have seeded the teams properly, this is what the quarterfinals could have been. Oregon could have played Boise State or Indiana in Eugene. No, not in Eugene, but in like they could have played Ohio. You could have played or Oregon could have played Ohio, Indiana or Boise State. Georgia would have played Tennessee. Would have that been great to see a Georgia-Tennessee matchup in the quarterfinal? Texas Ohio State game. Texas would have played Ohio State, and the 2 semifinal games would have been quarterfinal games. So the quarterfinals would have been better. I mean, no, they were still pretty good, but they would have been better. And Oregon wouldn't have been put at this disadvantage for going 13-0. So I think they definitely got to stop with the 4 conference champions getting buys. Just seed the teams 1 through 12. I think that's what they have to do.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I completely agree there because I have a couple that I'll bring up that I think until the semifinals, all the games should be played on home campuses because I do think the 1 seed deserves some advantage in not, having to play at a neutral site. Because I think besides the national championship game, all the other quarterfinal games, that were neutral sites, the only one that sold out was the Rose Bowl. Like Ohio State played three different neutral site games. Like that's a lot of money. And at least it's at home. Maybe you don't have to pay for an airfare. Maybe it's, tickets will be expensive. At least you can drive there and drive back that night or whatever. So I think they should, because what makes college football great is the home atmospheres. So I feel like they should capture that more, especially for a playoff. So that's one. Number 2, I think it's too long. Like I don't think you should play the Monday after the divisional round because I don't know. Maybe some of it was because it's Martin Luther King Day. Maybe because of the inauguration on Monday. But, like, there was not much hype. And it's Ohio State Notre Dame. Like, it's 2 proud football traditions. And it wasn't that hyped up. So, it'll never happen. I would say play the national championship game on January 1st. I know that will never happen, but like that's the day that you really feel like that's college football's day, January 1st. I know they'd never do it, but that's the perfect spot because I feel like I feel like even if it's Thursday or Friday, it's going to get lost in the NFL playoffs. Like it just is. So I think I think it runs a little bit too long, and because it's also Hawaii starts spring football in 13 days. I don't know when Ohio State and Oregon 8 starts, but like some of these teams are geared up for spring. They've already been off for over a month. Why you're still playing? So there's a couple of mine that I wish they could change, and I'm totally with you too. Like it's, um, the automatic buy should go away. Well, the last one is too. They should reseed like the NFL. I think that's another advantage the one she
That's a
should
good
get
one. That's a
because
good one. Yep.
it's you got to give them some type of advantage because that was ridiculous. Oregon got stuck with
Yeah,
Ohio
Oregon,
State.
Oregon got completely screwed in this playoff. They got screwed. The fact that Ohio State was the 8th seed and they had to play them, Oregon got screwed. Oregon got for being 13. Oregon got screwed. So yeah, I like all of them. I really do. I do. Are those all yours that you would change?
Yeah, those are all mine. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like them all. I like the reseeding. I like the maybe playing a little bit earlier like they used to, and then the home sites for the quarterfinal games. I like all those. I like them all. So we'll see what changes they make coming up. But I think overall it's a successful first year of the 12-team playoff. But we weren't going to talk about UConn today because we thought they'll win the game easily against Butler. Butler's 1-6 in the Big East. They should win the game easily, but they won the game by the skin of their teeth. Dan Hurley is not happy with the way this team is playing right now. He called them out after the game. He talked about the refs and everything. We all know that was out there, but he also called out his team and it's saying they're not playing well, and they really aren't. They really are not. They miss McNeely. Caraben's been inconsistent. DR has not been that good. Johnson's been inconsistent, and the only guy who's really been carrying him right now has been Solo Ball. Solo Ball had a great game. He scored over 20 points last night. He had that big 3 in overtime. He had a great game. But the way it looks right now, the big question is there concern for this team? I think I don't think there's concern about them making the tournament, but there is concern about 2 other things: them winning the Big East, and also them in the NCAA tournament. Because we said, as you said before the show, it really looks like a bridge year for this team, the way they've been playing recently.
Yeah, it does. Next year's class is unbelievable. It's loaded. They got 2 big kind of 6'5", 6'6" guards that are coming in. They got a big guy Eric Rebai, who I think is more polished offensively than Klingon was coming in because the guy could hit a jump. He can knock down jumpers at 7 feet already. But yeah, because Solo Ball, kind of some of the software, it's like Jalen Stewart played 34 minutes last night. He didn't do a ton. He stepped up in some big moments, especially last year.
He did nothing last night.
Yeah,
he scored like 4 points.
He did nothing. No, and that's the problem. Like some of these sophomores kind of disappear, and Solo Ball be one of the best players in the country. He played a lick of defense. Pay attention to him on Saturday, off ball defense. He's got no idea what he's doing out there defensively at times, but he's an unbelievable shooter. You got to put him out there, but he can't do much defensively, and yeah, Caravan's kind of been up and down, and I hate to say it, Caravan's probably be a late first round pick. I don't think he's gonna make it as an NBA player. He's just not quick. He just doesn't have the foot speed to play at the next level. I hate to say it. I hate the guys won 2 national championships. I just don't think he's got the. I don't think he's got the foot speed to play at the NBA level. Unfortunately, he's got the shot. He can shoot it. He does a lot of things well, but yeah, it's an inexperienced team because a lot of these guys last year didn't play much. Like a lot of these sophomores,
when you lose a Tristan Newton, a Cam Spencer, a Stefan Castle, a Donovan Clingan. You lost 4 starters. You lost 4 starters, and all 4 went to the NBA. So, yeah, a lot of these guys didn't get a ton of experience, and it's showing this year.
Yeah, it is. And again, Klingan's having a really nice rookie year. Castle's doing a nice job at San Antonio. I know Cam's getting in fights with Devin Booker, like that guy. I wish we had him for more than 1 year, but like in you miss that bulldog and Cam Spencer. Like I think McNeely is your bulldog, but like obviously it's not the level of Cam Spencer was last year. But that's the thing. Like McNeely's your best on-ball defender. He's your best kind of playmaker. DR, and then it's like McNeely's your secondary ball handler. That's about it. Like Ball can't do it. I know they're trying with Mahaney. He's so much better off the ball. Like they don't have it. So yeah, it feels like a bridge year. It was not great last night. You got out of there against a good young. I shouldn't say good. There's a lot of good young pieces at Butler, but yeah, it's Saturday night. They know McNeely's gonna be very ugly at Xavier because they're starting to play a lot better. And that's outside of last year, that's been the house of horrors. So I understand why Hurley's not happy and team's not great right now, but it just kind of feels like if this team gets second weekend, that's a huge success right now.
Yeah, and speaking of the Xavier game, they play there, as you said, Saturday night. I actually think they win. I think they win. I know this is a game they very easily could lose, but I think they win it close. I think they win it close because Hurley, when they don't play well, you saw it happen. They lost to Villanova. They played really well at Georgetown. Now last night doesn't really make sense because they lost to Creighton and they lost to and they didn't play well against Butler and they still won. But I think they're going to come out and you know what, Dan Hurley teams can surprise you. The Georgetown game, the Gonzaga game, the Texas game. The Baylor game, and they always seem to. Hurley seems to always have some good games. Has some good games. I think this is gonna be one of them. I think they beat Creighton. I think they beat Xavier. I think they beat him. I think I might have too much faith in this team, but I think they beat Xavier on the road. What do you think they're doing on Saturday night against Xavier?
They don't have McNeely. I think they lose. I right now I think Ken Palm's got Xavier as a 1-point favorite. I'm not going on Ken Palm today. I don't really want to look at UConn's metrics as they can't be great after last night.
Yeah.
So
No.
but I believe they're a 1-point dog. Fremantle's coming back, who's made a big difference. They're good off it. Like I don't expect them to shoot 55% from three, like they did in Hartford. So they have a chance to win this game, but Xavier's that's a good atmosphere to play or tough place to play. They go to St. John's tonight. We'll see how they do at the Garden. But I think they played really well against Marquette the other day. I don't know of a game they came back, I think, late in that one, but they came back. Yeah, they outscored Nova by 14 in the second half. But I like Fremantle. He's a good big down low, and who was it? Like Conwell.
Cronwell. He had a bunch of threes. He had a bunch of threes in the first game.
Yeah, and he's a tough. He makes a lot of those tough contested shots. So that's kind of what he does, and he did it the first time around. So I can't stand Sean Miller, but I think he gets it done Saturday night. We'll see if they can get St. John's tonight because they still have a very, very slim shot at another large bid, and they can win tonight and Saturday. Then looking a lot better, which Biggies need some bids.
It definitely does. They can win tonight. One of these two games, tonight or Saturday night, it'll definitely look better for Xavier. But we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap up talking some baseball. We'll first talk about the Hall of Fame class, and one, no surprise at Ichiro, one of the best hitters we've ever seen. So he made first ballot Hall of Famer, deservedly so. Was one vote away from being a unanimous Hall of Famer too. So he was one vote away from being unanimous. So no surprise there. Then one. I know our guy, CC Sabathia, a little bit of a surprise there. I mean, I thought he would get in, but maybe second or third time, but first ballot Hall of Famer for CC. Pretty impressive for CC. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. And then a well-deserving guy in Bobby Wagner, 10th year on the ballot, finally got in. So it's Bobby Wagner, CC Sabathia, and Ichiro will be the class that'll be enshrined in Cooperstown in July.
Yeah, Ichiro, one of the best, one of the unique swings in the sport. He's kind of got the softball swing, career 300 average. Always a good player. Wish he had a couple more chances there at the playoff runs with those Seattle teams weren't great towards his end, but Ichiro one of the better hitters. CC definitely had the lengthy career, and I think a main reason why he's a first ballot is this. He was good to the media.
Yeah,
they usually tend to like those guys, and that's kind of what happens. And they're right, not all the time. That's kind of the problem with the Hall of Fame voting baseball. But the guy was a workhorse. I think he had 13 straight years where he pitched at least 180 innings. So good for CC. And he's going with the Yankees cap as well. And Wagner last year on the ballot. I think he's got like the highest strikeout per nine. It's like 11.9. So I think he's one of 5 closers that have over 400 saves too. So been one of the better saves. So glad he got in there in the last year he could.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was nice to see Wagner get to the Hall of Fame. But we'll wrap up talking about a little bit of hot stove news. And the Dodgers, the rich just keep getting richer. Sasaki signs with them. Tanner Scott signs with them. I mean, they're loaded. Blake Snell, Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Ohtani is the rotation. And even they'll probably bring Kershaw back, so he'll be in the rotation. And then look at in the bullpen. Now you got Tanner Scott. You have a loaded lineup. The Dodgers look like they're the clear favorite to repeat as World Series champions. Looking at that roster, and then you look at Toronto. They sign Santander, take him from the Orioles. The Toronto will be improved. Orioles have not had a good offseason, losing Corbin Burns and now Santander.
Yeah, with Sasaki, I didn't know they needed more pitching, but They had so many starting pitching injuries last year that they might need them, I guess. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be nice if somebody else besides the Dodgers and Yankees would spend money this offseason. Like
I know.
I know Toronto's been trying. They've struck out pretty much on everybody besides Santander,
Oh,
but
Santander,
yeah, yeah, they struck out on everybody else, and they're striking out on Vlad for the long term deal. So yes, Saki sounds like yeah, he's gonna be kind of their top end rotation guy, and then yeah, Tanner Scott. Surprised the O's didn't make a run for him, but I know they got Cano coming back next year, but like thought they could have gone with him, but yeah, I know they got Kopech too in the bullpen to close out. Like it's another arm. They got some good guys in the back that could close some things out, and then yeah, Santander. Toronto finally got somebody. They need another back. It's, hopefully they could keep Guerrero and Bichette, and Santander is a pretty good middle of the lineup to have.
Oh, he is. That'll be. Yeah, if Bichette stays healthy, Guerrero, and you got Santander. Yeah, that's a good middle of the order. The Blue Jays should definitely be improved. They should definitely improve team. They should definitely be an improved team. They should definitely be an improved team for this year. But that's going to wrap it up on Sports Talk with RJ. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week recapping the conference championship games, giving you the latest NFL news. Probably going to be some coaching for some. Definitely going to be some more coaching hires. So we'll give you that, and then we'll be talking. We'll be talking about UConn basketball. We'll continue to talk about UConn basketball and them trying to turn things around to on their quest to a three-peat. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.